In the twilight of the 11th century, Europe trembled under the weight of destiny and divine promise. The air was thick with fervor, as whispers of a sacred call to arms spread like wildfire, igniting the hearts of knights and peasants alike. Across rugged lands and turbulent seas, the promise of eternal glory beckoned those brave enough to challenge fate, a call that would soon embroil them in a conflict known to history as the Crusades. Sir Baldwin of Ely, a weathered knight with eyes as deep and troubled as the stormy Atlantic, had long wrestled with inner demons. Born of noble blood, yet tempered by loss, he carried the scars of past battles both on his body and within his soul. When the call to reclaim the Holy Land reached his distant village, it stirred something dormant inside him. The promise was twofold: redemption for his personal sins and the chance to restore honor to his fractured world. With a heavy heart and a steadfast resolve, he swore an oath upon a battered reliquary, a symbol of faith and an emblem of the unity between heaven and earth. The journey northward was one of both physical hardship and spiritual awakening. Baldwin joined a motley host of crusaders, fierce warriors hardened by previous skirmishes, zealous clerics whose prayers could rouse the dead, and enigmatic figures shrouded in mystery. Among them was an elderly scholar named Brother Anselm, whose cryptic prophecies hinted at both triumph and sorrow. In whispered tones by flickering campfires, Anselm spoke of ancient curses and celestial designs, urging the knights to look beyond the clashing of swords and to seek the truth hidden in every heart. Their passage was fraught with peril. They crossed vast, arid deserts where the sun scorched the earth and mirages danced on the horizon. They navigated dense, foreboding forests where every rustle of leaves whispered secrets of forgotten battles. In each step, the soldiers were reminded that their mission was more than a mere conquest. It was a pilgrimage of the soul. The landscape itself seemed imbued with the echoes of those who had walked before them, leaving behind traces of both valor and regret. At the heart of the conflict lay Jerusalem, a city as ancient as time, where minarets and spires reached for the heavens in silent testimony to millennia of faith. Here the Crusaders clashed with an equally determined force, led by the enigmatic Emir Malik al-Rashid, a leader whose reputation for both chivalry and ruthlessness had earned him the reluctant respect of friend and foe alike. Malik, draped in garments that shimmered like desert sands, was as much a product of his time as Baldwin. He fought not solely for dominion over a sacred city, but to protect his people's way of life, to preserve a legacy steeped in tradition and honor. Exact repeat of Mafek 31. The ensuing battles were a maelstrom of chaos and carnage. Steel met steel in a symphony of clashing blades, while cries of agony and defiance filled the air. Amid the chaos, Baldwin found himself thrust into the vortex of violence, a maelstrom where every decision carried the weight of destiny. Each charge into battle was a desperate gamble against death, and every fallen comrade a poignant reminder of the human cost of war. The ground was soaked with the blood of the brave, and the cries of the wounded blended with the distant tolling of church bells, as if the heavens themselves lamented the sorrow of man. Yet within the brutality of combat, moments of unexpected humanity emerged. On a fog-laden morning, as the armies regrouped near the ancient walls of Jerusalem, Baldwin encountered Malik on a narrow, blood-stained path. For a fleeting moment, time seemed to suspend. Two warriors, bound by duty, yet separated by culture and conviction, exchanged a look of mutual recognition. In that silent communion, they understood that neither was wholly right nor entirely wrong. Both had been swept along by tides of fate, compelled to act by forces far greater than themselves. In Malik's eyes, Baldwin saw a mirror of his own inner struggle, a man tormented by the duality of honor and cruelty, hope and despair. As the siege of Jerusalem commenced, the city itself became a living tableau of history. Its ancient stones bore witness to millennia of faith and conflict, its narrow alleys echoing with prayers and laments. The Crusaders fought with an almost desperate intensity, their spirits fueled by visions of divine reward. Yet, with every enemy vanquished, the relentless specter of loss grew heavier. The carnage revealed an unsettling truth, that the true enemy was not merely the opposing force, but the insatiable hunger for power and revenge that had been woven into the very fabric of the human soul. Night after night, as the moon cast its pale glow over blood-drenched battlements, Baldwin's heart grew heavy with the burden of survival. The relentless violence had begun to erode the fervor that had once propelled him forward. In the midst of the turmoil, he sought solace in quiet moments of introspection, his mind returning to the words of Brother Anselm. In every shadow of war, there lies a spark of truth. Seek it, and you may yet find light amid the darkness. It was a lesson that would prove indispensable as the crusade neared its climax. In a decisive confrontation that would be etched in the annals of history, the combined forces of the Crusaders and Malik's defenders met on the outskirts of Jerusalem in a battle of epic proportions. The air was charged with an almost supernatural energy, a convergence of fate and fervor that transcended mortal understanding. Swords clashed in relentless rhythm, and the ground trembled beneath the relentless march of armies. Amidst the storm of steel and blood, Baldwin found himself at a crossroads, to continue blindly on the path of destruction or to seek an alternative, a way to reconcile the seemingly irreconcilable differences between faith and reason, violence and compassion. In that fateful moment, as the roar of battle swelled around him, Baldwin made a choice that would redefine the very nature of his quest. With a cry that resonated with both defiance and sorrow, he stepped forward, not to further the cycle of retribution, but to extend a hand in parley. His bold act of compassion, though it brought him immediate peril, signified a turning point. The battlefield fell into a brief, stunned silence, as enemies regarded one another, not as faceless foes, but as kindred souls ensnared by the inexorable tide of destiny. The battle's end did not come with a clear victor, but with a shared understanding among the combatants that the true struggle lay not on the fields of Jerusalem, but within the hearts of those who had been molded by war. As the sun rose on a land forever scarred by the ravages of the Crusades, a profound truth emerged from the tumult, that the relentless pursuit of glory through violence only breeds further despair. The epic saga of the Holy War, with its relentless clashes, its bloodshed, and its heart-wrenching sacrifices, was a testament to the complex interplay of honor, duty, and the indomitable human spirit. The Crusaders, once driven by divine promise, had learned that true victory was not measured in the territory won or the enemies vanquished, but in the wisdom to recognize the value of peace and the inherent worth of every human life. In the echoes of history, the Crusades remind us that the pursuit of righteousness must never come at the cost of our shared humanity. The scars of war serve as eternal witnesses to the price of hatred and blind ambition. Let us learn from the past that compassion, understanding, and the courage to seek peace can forge a legacy far greater than the fleeting glory of conquest. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's most tumultuous epics. If you found this epic exploration both inspiring and thought-provoking, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support helps us continue to bring you deep dives into the rich tapestry of our collective past. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and until next time, keep seeking the light amid the shadows of history.